What up is Marcos Dynasty as we have TJ Hockenson trade, and look at this. I'm wearing all my Vikings gear. I ironically was wearing this when the trade happened. And by the way, we have a DeAndre Swift. If you're a Detroit fan, signed jersey, all we have to do is hit 2K when we hit that. We're going to be giving that away for free to one of our subscribers. Let's talk about this redraft-wise, dynasty-wise, because I think this is an important thing. There's some different pieces that I want to talk about, whether it's on the Detroit side and Minnesota side. But let's start with TJ Hockenson itself. I really don't think that this changes his dynasty value that much. I mean, really, you look at his Detroit, where they have a bunch of weapons. They have DeAndre Swift. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have Jameson Williams coming back. And so really you have Jared Goff, who's probably is, I believe, a lesser of a quarterback than we have Kirk Cousins. And then you have Kirk Cousins has Cook and Madison and Thielen and Jefferson and death to Irv. They have Irv Smith, who is injured currently. So really, realistically, I feel like you're having the same. You're not going to be moving him down much, and in redraft, you're not going to be really moving him up much. This is not a team, Minnesota's not a team that is desperately lacking weapons, and they're going to put that offense around TJ Hockenson. He's going to play probably the exact same role where he's going to have these really good games, and you're like, whoa, TJ Hockenson just scored 2 touchdowns. And then you're going to have these games where it's going to be super frustrating, where you're going to have an Irv Smith or a Munt type game where it's 3 for 32 or 3 for 24, and you're like, man, that stinks. And Tyler Conklin even had brief glimpses of last year showing that he was fantasy relevant. And so I think TJ Hockenson is just going to be the better version of Tyler Conklin if we look at that analytically wise. And so TJ Hockenson, where is he put behind Dynasty? I have him again behind the number 1 Kyle Pitts, who has always been frustrating this year, but Kyle Pitts is still the number 1 tight end. And then he's behind, of course, George Kittle, who I believe is a solid number 2 tight end overall. But then when you start getting into this sphere, are you a contender? If you're a contender, I want Kelsey. If you're a rebuilder or some team that's looking for a couple years down the road, then I'm going to want a TJ Hockenson type of fantasy player. And then if you're kind of right in between where you're like, I'm a contender, but it might not be this year, then I want Dallas Goedert. So you kind of get this variety of tight ends of like, which one do you want? If you're the team that's going out for it all, again, you want Travis Kelce. If you're a team that's like, I think I can do it this year, but know what, next year for sure, then I want Dallas Goedert because I feel like this is a good window for Dallas Goedert. Of course, also older, TJ Hockenson, again, the younger type here, still on his rookie deal. And Hockenson could be a decent tight end, middle, that tight end 1, middle, that 5, 6, 7, 8 range, 4 to 8, I guess you could say. He's that tight end that could put you for the next 5, 6 years for Minnesota, or if he ends up only being for Minnesota for a couple of years, we'll find out. So again, that's what I think of TJ Hockenson. Doesn't really move much in redraft. In redraft, still kind of mid tight end 1. It definitely have him behind Goddard and behind Kelsey and behind Andrews. I forgot about Andrews. Why did I forget about Andrews? Andrews is I don't know why I forgot about Andrews. Just maybe because he was hurt or something. Andrews is also Andrews is the number 2 tight end. So I have Pitts, Andrews, Kittle. And then, so don't hate me. I don't know why I forgot about Andrews. I have him in like a million different leagues, but maybe just because he's hurt. Whatever. Let's go to some of the weapons that I think it's going to affect. On the Minnesota side, Irv Smith, death to Irv, unfortunately, injured his ankle. And this is a player that I thought was going to be a big disappointment. And I actually had a lot of pushback from my Minnesota friends and my Minnesota family. And I'm like, sorry, guys. I think Irv Smith is definitely a disappointment. I even bought a college Alabama helmet of Irv Smith because I thought he was going to be a really good kind of H-back, a fullback, tight end. They were going to use him all sorts of areas of all sorts of plays around the field. Great. I thought it was a good second-round pick coming out of Alabama. He has just not shown the part. In fact, I actually would. So a second, third goes to Detroit. I would actually rather had a second and Irv go to Detroit. I mean, I guess we can't do that now, but Irv is going to just be a backup. And TJ Hockenson has shown some health injuries as well, but so I guess we're keeping him. So Irv Smith, he goes into this just dynasty-wise and fantasy-wise, really just redraft-wise, he's dead. In dynasty-wise, you are just throwing him at a deep stash. Kind of like Brevin Jordan, who's been having a horrible sophomore year. A complete deep stash on a deep roster where if he ends up getting traded or TJ Hockenson gets hurt, maybe you could start him in a pinch. realistically, you're hoping he unfortunately goes to a different team at some point in his career, and all of a sudden that team can hone in, and all of a sudden you get this tight end that is 27 years old, 28 years old, and all of a sudden, boom, it's like he does well. Or he just follows the path of O.J. Howard, where he's just not relevant. You're kind of hoping for like an Njoku type season down the road. Njoku much more talented in my opinion, but that is what you're looking for when it comes to Irv Smith. Adam Thielen, I think he takes just a slight hit here just because he is the number 2 weapon, and now you have a weapon that is going to be better than Irv Smith. And Adam Thielen has not shown to really stay completely healthy. That ankle worries me. It seems like he's limping off the field every single game. So this is a worry for Adam Thielen. I do think he takes a bump. And he's going to take potentially more touchdown targets away, or at least end zone, red zone targets. I think TJ Hockenson will be a bigger weapon. Justin Jefferson doesn't seem to be the touchdown type either, unfortunately. So I think TJ Hockenson does play a role there. For the Detroit side, I think this is a huge bump for Amon-Ra St. Brown long term. Jameson Williams coming back at some point at the end of this year, I think was going to be a huge threat on taking that wide receiver 1 role, and then all of a sudden you got, okay, I got Amon, I got Detroit, or I got Amon, I got DeAndre Swift, and I got if I can actually talk, okay, we got Hockenson, Swift, and Amon fighting for that like number 2 target role. Well, now Swift has been kind of always hurt, and you have Hockenson gone, and so realistically, I still think Swift is going to be good out of the backfield, but he doesn't seem like he's going to be taking 70-80% of the snaps. He's going to be more of his 55% of the snaps. And you're going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown going to be the short guy, the guy that's in the middle of the field. I actually love this move for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love that this really concretes him at being, if he's not the wide receiver 1, he's a great wide receiver 2. And Jameson Williams can be the deep threat, that boom player. And so I like that DJ Chark plus type. I mean, because DJ Chark is that deep threat type of guy. But, I mean, you're talking about Jameson Williams is that plus a lot more because he's a lot more talented than DJ Chark. So I love this move for just Amon-Ra St. Brown. So big bump here. DeAndre Swift doesn't really change him much. This just concerns me. A little bit downgrade for, I would say, Jared Goff because he's going to just have one less great target here. And so, again, this is what I believe that's going to happen in redraft. Again, Amon-Ra St. Brown, this is a big bump for him. DeAndre Swift doesn't move him much. Really, the needles are Irv Smith down completely. Kirk probably gets a slight bump. Adam Thielen gets a slight bump down. Amon-Ra is probably the biggest winner out of this. And then Jameson Williams coming back. Again, this just gives him a bigger pie, bigger window when he comes back that he can supplant and be at minimum. Again, it's going to be those two will be fantasy relevant. And potentially Jameson Williams could be a fantasy great, huge bump towards the end of the year. Think Odell Beckham. I know Odell Beckham came earlier than Jameson Williams, but Jameson Williams could come in and just dominate right off the bat just because of how highly talented he truly is and how big playability he truly is. So I love this this for Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams. All right, so this is Marcus. We're going to be doing waivers here soon, so peace out. Take care.